Hi, I'm Doug from Photomatica Photo Booth Company. So today we're going to show you how to get your booth, get it unpacked, and get it started taking pictures. So your booth is going to ship with the strobe unit and the camera separate from their normal homes, so they'll arrive to you safely. So I'll show you how to put together the strobe unit and the camera so you can get started. So this is the strobe. It's a silver box. And this is where it plugs in, and the only thing you really need to worry about. So it goes on the top shelf up here. We'll plug it in. And then tuck it in the corner up here so it's out of the way and so that the paper can fit in there. And that's where it lives. All right, now we're gonna show you the camera. So the camera has a little slot and a hole right here, you could see. So that needs to fit over this little thing in its home. And then once it gets on there, it'll slide around for you. So it plugs in here at the top with this guy. And then we'll flip it all the way around to show you how to adjust the aperture. So this thing flips up, and you can see here, I can show you with the light, this is where the aperture is, where it says f2.9, and to adjust it, you just rotate it around. So with fresh chemicals, and they're heated properly, you should be able to start around at 8 or 11 aperture. And then as the chemicals get older, or if they're cold, you could start it all the way on 2.9. So just adjust that to where you need it. And then we'll close this up. Now we'll show you how to get the paper in. All right, so you're gonna put this wing nut here, it'll come shipped tight. You're gonna wanna loosen it up so that the paper will flow freely. And then you put that wing nut facing to the right. All right, so the paper is gonna feed down into these two slots. And then this black thing, you're gonna slide to the left to disengage this little gear here. And then you're gonna slide it down to get the rollers to pull it. And you're gonna see it come through the little window where the camera is. And then when it goes to the bottom, so it's sticking out of the bottom here, you're gonna use this cutter. So this thing you just push with your hand, and then it's where it needs to be. So we'll close this and then rotate this into its home. Make sure it's clear of this thing, and you're good to go. So the booth is gonna come with the spider arm shipped in the down position. And what you're gonna do is take all the tanks out and set them to the side, because you're gonna need them off the drip tray so that you can get the transmission leveled. It's very important. All right, so you can see here, everything's out. There's 3 posts, one on this side, one on this side, and one in the back. And what you do is you're gonna loosen one side to drop it down, or I'm sorry, tighten it to drop it down, loosen it to raise it up, and you're gonna use this little tool here to see exactly where this thing needs to be so that it's perfectly balanced and level. So to take the spider arm off, you take this top nut off, and it's a reverse thread. So twist it the opposite direction you think you need to. Set that aside, and then this spider arm will pull up off of here. And we'll set that to the side. So then we're gonna take this transmission balancing tool, and you're gonna put it on here like so, and then flip on the transmission. The switch is right underneath here. And then when it gets to the top, you're gonna turn it off. So it looks like the height is good because you can see it's right on that line, but I feel a little bit of a ridge over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tighten this one down to lower this one so that we get it right where it needs to be. So you'll just need an adjustable wrench like this, and we'll put it over here and we'll just turn it down. You may have to loosen the one underneath first. All right, it's better. So the idea is to get this thing running so that it's perfectly smooth all around the rim here, and this line is right where it needs to be. So when you get that balanced, you can turn the transmission back on, get this thing in a down position, and then you can take this thing off and put the spider assembly back on and start testing that. Try to be careful putting it on, and it should only fit one way. So just keep spinning it around until it falls down in position. And then screw this thing on, reverse thread. Okay, now that we have the transmission balanced, the next thing we're gonna do is to go and do some fine tuning and adjustments on our spider assembly. So to do that, we're gonna need at least 2 pictures. I like to use pictures of myself, but you could use whatever you have around. And what you're gonna do is come in here and you're gonna stick a picture up into the feed down unit. So once you have the picture in here, make sure it's straight and it's sticking down about 1.5 inches for like 1 picture. Then you're gonna go ahead with the transmission on, just hit one of these things over to activate the transmission. And then we're gonna wait for it to go and turn around. Actually, we're gonna stop it. And then the one that's closest to the drop down unit, which is this one right here, you're gonna swing it out, and you can see on here what you need to do is loosen up this little setting nut, and that way you're able to adjust this thing with a screwdriver. I'm gonna put this back so I don't forget. So you're gonna loosen this nut over here, swing this one out, and then you're gonna drop in a photo strip in here into the carrier. And then you're gonna let it, turn it on till it gets closer to the top, and then turn it on till just before it gets up there. And then by hand, you could rotate this thing so it gets a little higher. And these things should line up with each other to know it's in position. If it's not, you could adjust this screw to move it this way, tighten it, or loosen it to move it that way. And then when you're done, you're gonna wanna go through and set these nuts back in place. So you're gonna do that for all 7 of these arms so that they'll all be perfectly adjusted to get the feed down receiver and to go in the delivery slot. So now that we have the transmission balanced, the spider arm adjusted, and the paper and the camera in there, we're about ready to put the tanks in. So there's one more thing. The developer needs to be heated to about 90 degrees Fahrenheit to get proper pictures. So this one's got a metal tank here for the developer, a double tank, and it has these 2 metal probes. So they plug in where the developer is. It looks like it's an outlet, but it's actually just a circuit. This is a thermostat, and this thing, when it gets to a certain temperature, will pop out and break the circuit and turn this heater off. So to adjust this, you could take a screwdriver and tighten it down to make it hotter and loosen it to make it cooler. So these things, this one will go on the top over there, and then the heating element will go on the bottom. And they both plug in near where the developer goes, back in the corner. can see over there, up in the corner there is where they plug in. All right, it's time to add some chemistry. Let's have some fun.